WCBI News at 10 starts now.
The trade war between the U.S. and China is starting to ramp up. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Quentin Smith. Today, China announced that it'll raise tariffs on about $60 billion worth of U.S. goods. This comes after the U.S. announced on Friday that it would increase tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese-made goods. Courtney Jackson explains why some state farmers say they're fed up with these tariffs.
Soybeans have been a good crop for farmers like Danny Murphy, but now the U.S. is nearly a year in on a trade war with the country that took most of that crop.
We have worked in China for 40 years to develop that market, and they developed into the largest market in the world.
Without that,
farmers are suffering. And we've lost probably 25% of our income over this time period with these tariffs.
Murphy says they've tried to figure out how to minimize the hit, but there's only so much they can do.
We've moved on. Europe is importing more soybeans than they have from the United States in a number of years. Other countries, Indonesia, some of the Middle Eastern countries are importing more soybeans. So we've taken up some of the slack with China, but China was, I mean, they were 5 to 10 times any other market.
This year, Mother Nature is adding to the frustrations. Heavy rain and flooding in some parts of the state are putting a temporary hold on his to-do list.
We would have liked to have been planting soybeans 3 weeks ago, but we haven't been able to get that done.
Keep in mind, he knows he won't be able to get as much for what he plants.
Kind of a double whammy. The prices are low, and then you're probably have lost production over what you'd have if we could plant it up timely. So it's been tempting to reduce the acres we're planting, but at this point we will probably plant most of what we intended to.
The president is now saying he'll take further action to help the nation's farmers, but they're saying they're growing more impatient.
I'm just a year or two from retirement, but of course this is going to affect, I don't want to lose a lot of money in the last year or two and affect how I'm able to retire, or if I'm able to retire.
Courtney Jackson, WCBI News.
A candidate for Secretary of State says his experience as a public service commissioner and small businessman gives him a strong understanding of policies that lead to economic growth. Public Service Commissioner Sam Britton told a crowded Barbecue by Jim that he's advocated for the expansion of rural broadband access and that he's challenged the FCC to correct its cell phone coverage maps, which he calls inaccurate. The Laurel Republican says it's important to have a Secretary of State who understands the private sector and how government can help small businesses.
And as Secretary of State, I'm going to focus on the economy. We need to get Mississippi off the bottom, and we can do that. My business background, I know that how we can go about doing that, and we will focus on the policies to make sure to make our economy grow. Because research shows you have the right policies, your economy grows.
Britton faces Mississippi Senator Michael Watson in the Republican primary in August. Pain at the pharmacy. All across the nation, many people struggle to afford their prescriptions. Our Stephanie Poole has more on how some local residents are dealing with these rising costs.
Chances are you know someone feeling the pocket pinch when it comes to buying prescriptions, and the costs seem to keep rising.
I think it's horrible, especially for senior citizens that are on fixed incomes.
Meet Helen Taylor. She's a diabetic and can't afford her insulin. She says her insulin costs around $600 for an 18-day supply.
I'm living off of samples rather than going and filling these prescriptions that I really can't afford.
Insulin is just one of her medications. There are other prescriptions she has to foot the bill for.
Now, if I paid $600 for the insulin, $178 for that one, eye drops are $25 a bottle. There's 2 of those. I would spend more than $1,000 a month just on medicine.
But it's not just consumers. Pharmacies, too, see the price spike.
We've seen generic drug companies as well really limit the number of products that are getting to market, which in a free market means that we're just going to have just a increase in the cost.
Owner of BJ's Family Pharmacy, BJ Kugel, says there are different resources out there to hopefully lower the cost. There's government agencies like Medicare, even manufactured coupons that may be able to make your medication more affordable.
Not every place will do that, so it is super important for people to try to look at options. there might be a generic equivalent option for them that might be cheaper. There might be another drug in the same class where their copay may be cheaper.
While the battle of medication costs continues for Taylor, she says she'll keep fighting.
It's getting hard, but you want to continue to live too.
That was our Stephanie Poole reporting there. Now, Kugel stresses the importance to make sure you ask your doctor and pharmacist about ways to lower the costs of your prescriptions. Well, many parts of our viewing area received sunshine today. We're going to go ahead and send things over to meteorologist Jacob Dickey, who's standing by with a first look at our forecast. Jacob.
Oh, sunshine we did get today, and man, did it feel great out there. Even tonight, if you step out the door, down to 59. Very cool out there. Our dew points are in the 50s. Some dry air is in place across the air. Still at 61 at the airport in Columbus, 60 in Tupelo, 60 down in Jackson. It's 64 in Montgomery. A clear sky, that's allowing with the dry air to have radiational cooling happen efficiently. So we're cooling things off quickly down into the low 50s and upper 40s. More sunshine coming this week, but we also have a few chances for some scattered showers. I'll tell you all about that coming up in just a bit.
Thanks so much, Jacob. Monroe County officials are moving ahead with plans to hire contractors to remove debris from last month's tornadoes. The Board of Supervisors has advertised for proposals for debris removal ahead of an expected federal disaster declaration. Now, I do want to point out, there are many government regulations overseeing debris removal. For example, certain items, such as appliances and electronics, will go to the Three Rivers landfill in Pontotoc, while demolition and construction debris can be taken to the Monroe County landfill. Road Manager Sonny Clay says the Department of Environmental Quality has agreed for the second time since the Smithfield tornado to allow the county to have two burn sites for vegetation.
Because of the damage, not just here in Monroe County, but all across the state, there's 40 or 50 other counties that's in somewhat the same boat we are. And if all this debris had to be hauled to landfills, you're just looking at an additional expense to the taxpayers of having to buy more land. Being able to burn it is going to save a lot of space in all of our landfills, not just Monroe County.
Now, cost estimates run between $2.5 to $3 million. The county will have to come up with 12.5% of that total cost. Well, police make a second arrest in a weekend armed robbery in Ackerman. Police Chief Tim Cook tells WCBI that Martina Cunningham has been arrested and charged with accessory after the fact in a robbery at Honey's Laundromat on Saturday. Cook says Cunningham was the driver of the getaway car. Now, police already had Bernard Miller in custody. He's charged with armed robbery, and his bond is set at $15,000. Bond for Cunningham is set at $10,000. A June 2018 East Columbus shooting leads to an indictment in court. Brylan Gore is charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. A Lowndes County grand jury recently handed down the indictment. Now, the shooting, it happened near the intersection of McCrary and Forest Boulevard. Police say the 13-year-old victim ran to his home on Maple Street after being shot. Investigators say the two knew each other but did not release a motive.
Looking at dry conditions out there this evening, radar showing not much going on. As we go in tonight, temperatures dropping into the low 50s. Full forecast coming up in just a bit.
WCBI First Alert AccuWeather Forecast with meteorologist Jacob Dickey.
Nice and quiet out there, just the way we all like it. No rain, no storms, just a clear sky. Comfortable temperatures too, really maybe even a little cool out there. Down to 54 in Louisville. Now, tonight's forecast is going to be all about the dew point. That's going to be a key here moving forward. We'll talk about that quite a bit. 53 is where the dew point is in Louisville. As we see our temperatures, they fell quickly. The reason is when we have dry air in place, when our dew point values are so low, we can efficiently cool off the atmosphere very quickly. And so once that sun set, our temperatures quickly tumbled, already down to 59 in Columbus, 57 in Starkville, 58 in Winona, still at 60 in Tupelo, and 61 in West Point. We also can use the dew point to tell where the floor is, where the bottom is as far as our low temperatures go. For the most part, they're down in the mid to low 50s out there. With light north winds, I still think a little drier air will continue to work on in. That means that tonight our temperatures will fall down into the low 50s, maybe even a spot or two under a mostly clear sky tonight into the upper 40s. We should be in those low 60s this time of year, all the way down to 51 in Columbus, Starkville, and West Point, 50 in Pontotoc and Tupelo, 49 in Iuka overnight tonight. As we look at Futurecast, staying dry here, it does suggest maybe a few clouds and an isolated sprinkle just off to our north and our west. I really think in our area, though, we'll be keeping things dry. We'll call it mostly clear to partly cloudy as we start the day on Tuesday. Temperatures then with dry air, not only do they cool off quickly, but it warms up fairly quickly, too. By the lunchtime, we're into the 70s. I think we're heading for the mid to upper 70s out there with a mix of sun and clouds, keeping things dry and light north winds generally between 2 and 7 miles an hour. 75 will be the high in Tupelo, 74 in Amory and in Aberdeen, Calhoun City and Bruce also up to 75. More mid to upper 70s into the Golden Triangle, 78 in Columbus, 77 in Macon, Starkville at 76. We'll get to 79 in Kosciuszko, Ackerman all the way up to 77. West Alabama enjoying the nice weather also, 74 in Solagent, 75 in Vernon and Reform, Aliceville up to 76 tomorrow. Now as we look ahead here, temperatures will slowly climb here as we go through the middle to latter parts of the week up into the upper 80s out there. But again, the dew point will be a factor here. We've got some dry air in here, so this is comfortable. We've got the 70s and low 80s. As we get south wind back, then it brings some Gulf moisture back. When we see our dew points get into the upper 60s, close to 70, that's when things can feel a little bit uncomfortable. I think we'll see our first 90 later on this week as well. And that south wind comes into play when this high pressure slides off to our east there. Maybe an isolated shower on Wednesday into Thursday. Very light, though. Not expecting a whole lot there. I think many of us staying partly cloudy as we go for the next couple of days here. If you get a shower, consider yourself lucky. Overnight tonight, cooling off into the low 50s, maybe upper 40s out there under a mostly clear sky. The week ahead looking pretty quiet overall. We've got some 70s and 80s on the board as we climb into the weekend. A couple scattered showers and storms possible Sunday and Monday.
Some area students are recognized for a year's worth of hard work. We check in on Monroe County coming up a little later. Welcome back. When it comes to strokes, minutes really do matter. In fact, the first hour is critical, and that's why it's important to be able to recognize the symptoms fast. We learn more in tonight's Health Talk with Baptist.
Hi, I'm Belinda Sanderson, Director of Quality at Baptist Memorial Hospital Golden Triangle. Tonight, I would like to talk to you about some warning signs of stroke. A stroke is a brain attack. It can happen to anyone at any time. It occurs when blood flow to an area of the brain is cut off. A person's body language tells you a lot of things, but would you know if someone was having a stroke right in front of you? The ability to recognize the signs of stroke gives you the power to act quickly. A stroke puts a person's life in danger. Every extra minute the person waits to get help increases the risk of permanent brain damage. After a stroke, an estimated 2 million brain cells die each minute if treatment is not started on time. According to the American Stroke Association, an easy way to tell if someone is having a stroke is to remember the letters F-A-S-T. F stands for face. Face drooping. Does one side of the face droop or is it numb? Ask the person to smile. Is the person's smile even or lopsided? A stands for arm weakness. Is one arm weak or numb? Ask the person to raise both arms. Does one arm drift downward? S stands for speech. Is speech slurred? Is the person unable to speak or hard to understand? Ask the person to repeat a simple sentence. T stands for time to call 911. If the person shows any of these symptoms, even if the symptoms go away, call 911 and get them to a hospital immediately. Join us next time for Health Talk with Baptist when we will discuss additional symptoms of a stroke.
Mail your topic suggestions to healthtalk@wcbi.com. Health Talk has been brought to you by Baptist Memorial Hospital Golden Triangle.
Well, I guess you might call this a baby shower. Firefighters with the Columbus Fire and Rescue help a couple with their gender reveal. Kayla and Darius Braggins made it official tonight. Now, Darius didn't know that they were having a little girl until tonight when they turned on the hose and pink water flowed out. I want to give a big thank you to Anthony Colon for providing us with this video tonight, and of course, a congratulations to the Spraggins. Softball state championships are beginning with a bang. South Pontotoc will take it down to the wire. Highlights from Hattiesburg next in sports.
WCBI Sports with Tom Ebel.
The rain has finally passed and softball state championships allowed to resume as normal. The first pitches being thrown in Hattiesburg Monday. 1A softball championships finally underway. Vardaman taking on Smithville, top of the second. Rams already up 3-0. Sarah Wooten puts a Wooten on the ball. 3-run homer over the left field wall. Vardaman takes a 6-0 lead. Top of the fourth, bases loaded for Nora Blake Parker, right past the shortstop. That'll bring home 2 more Lady Rams. Parker will get a single, and Vardaman's up 8-0. And a few batters later, it's Carolyn Casey finds a gap in left, an RBI base hit of her own. Vardaman scores 4 in the fourth to go up 10-0. But Harley Hatley says, don't give up, not just yet, trying to start a rally. Solo home run for Smithville, but it'd be way too much Vardaman. Lady Rams take command of the championship series with a 12-1 Game 1 win. South Pontotoc defeating Choctaw Central 7-6. This one was a thriller. 9 innings, South Pontotoc getting the series win 1-0. They defeat Choctaw Central 7-6. It was a walk-off error to home plate, or a catcher throwing to third, and it just went haywire. South Pontotoc takes advantage. We'll have highlights from this game coming up on WCBI Sunrise, as well as our website, WCBI.com. The 4A championship game, oh, there we go. There's South Pontotoc and Choctaw County. I knew there's a game here. There we go. South Pontotoc trying to take an early lead there, and they get it rolling one more time. Again, this one, a little bit of a spoiler now. This would be a bags clearing triple from Maddie Pilcher that would tie the ball game late for South Pontotoc. Trying to go for gold here, but not in time. That'd be the throw out at the plate, but it would be tie ball game, and it would go to extras. Here, Choctaw Central takes the lead in extras to take a 6-5 lead. Then South Pontotoc would tie it up thanks to this run right here, and then it would be the error. Trying to throw it. There's a throw out at third. That would get South Pontotoc out of the inning. So then, this is what I was talking about. There's that error to third. South Pontotoc waved home, and that's it. That's your game-winning run. Cougars get the win 7-6. And then the 4A state championship game, taking on Newton County, taking on Tishomingo County. Shelby Anderson getting some help from her defense. Lizzie Hollingsworth with the out at short. Scoreless early on, and then the Cougars offense would pounce. Anderson providing some run support for herself. Singles to left field. Caitlin Gibson crosses the plate. First run of the day for Newton County. Cougars would score 5 in the first. Braves trying to rally back, but it would not be enough as Newton County wins the 4A state championship, sweeping Tisch County 8-4. Saltillo taking on Lafayette in the 5A North half final. Saltillo needing a win to advance, but Lafayette getting on the board early. Wilson Varner with a base hit to make it a 1-0 Doors lead. Then bottom of the first, Charles Miller with a hard grounder to second. He's retired, but game-tying run scored. And bottom of the second, Evan McCarthy, a sharp grounder. Another play at second, but another run would score for the Tigers, and that's all they would need as Saltillo forces Game 3 with a 4-1 win. Same situation in Hamilton. Lions trying to even up the series against Stringer. They're down 2-0 here, but not anymore. Joshua West delivers. Liner to left. Jamie Dean Atkins racing home. 2 RBI double for West. Cade Smith fired up. That would tie the ball game until the very next batter, Gabe Burcham. Base hit. That's going to bring Brady Davis across the plate. Hamilton would take a 3-2 lead. Davis does the rest. Hamilton scores 5 unanswered to force Game 3 with a 5-2 win. Some more scores. New Hope advances to the 4A state championship with a 10-4 win over Pontotoc. The Trojans will await the winner of West Lauderdale and Sumrall. North Pontotoc dominates, advancing to back-to-back title games, sweeping Boonville with a 13-5 win. And for the third straight season, Smithville crowned North half champion. They defeat West Union in a decisive Game 3, 10-3. That's it for sports. Last of your weather is next.
Celebrating academic success was the main course at a banquet in Aberdeen tonight. Get this, more than 90 students were honored for earning a 3.0 GPA or higher this school year. Now the students, they were presented with an award based on the number of times they've accomplished this feat. School leaders say it's important to reward the students, and they believe it serves as motivation for the young scholars to keep up the good work.
Whenever students do great things, we have to celebrate. We have to celebrate success. We have to celebrate achievement. This lets our students know that if they work hard and they do the best that they can achieve great things. And the sky's the limit.
It feels great because I've honestly done so much work over the last 4 years, long nights, long papers, and just to have a night set aside for people who actually put in work academically and not just on a sports team. So it feels nice to be able to be awarded for the work that I've put in over the semesters.
And this was the 29th year Aberdeen High School has hosted this banquet. Jacob, those are some bright students with even brighter futures.
They are, and I tell you what, maybe some of them come take our job, because if we got awards for good weather weeks, I think this is our first one of the year here through Saturday. Things looking pretty nice. We've had a rough spring. All the rain, severe weather, no sunshine, a lot of it coming this week, though. There's a chance for a few isolated showers Wednesday, Thursday. Not too concerned about it. We'll keep our eyes on things.
So looking at a cool, calm, and sunny
start,
week.
we'll warm things up.
I like that. Have a good night, everyone.